talk about the NFL Week 2. We've got some excellent matchups coming up this week. I managed to win my first week in the Orion Bowl Fantasy League. So, first, I am going to have a look at my fantasy lineup this week, and you can tell me where I'm going wrong, why my team is trash, and why I'm going to lose. So, starting at quarterback, Pat Mahomes. Nothing wrong with that. I don't see a great many people saying that that's a bad decision. If you have Pat Mahomes, you play him. The guy's a phenom, for God's sake. I expect to see some numbers there. I also have James Robinson for the Jacksonville Jaguars starting at running back because I think he's going to get a lot of production. Well, it's not I think, he's going to get a lot of production. That's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because Ozigbo went down with an injury. Obviously, there's no more Leonard Fournette there. He's going to get a lion's share of the carries. And if he can do something with them, there are going to be numbers to be had there. And let's see, I think they play Tennessee this week. I'm not even sure. But yeah, I just think that in some of these matchups, you need to go with who's got... in Detroit, you don't want to have a Detroit running back, for instance, because they're running by committee right now. And there's 5 of them in there. Yeah, they play Tennessee. It's in Tennessee. Tennessee are a tough team, but I do see Robinson getting some good production, at least getting the opportunity to put up numbers, and sometimes that's all a player needs. Another player who I think is probably a lock to go in for at least one score and put up some numbers is the new rookie running back in Kansas City, Clyde Edwards. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! He is an excellent player. I am all over. I'm not questioning that. Do you know, anybody that says it's a bad idea to put Clyde Edwards hell yeah into your lineup if you've got him are quite frankly out of their goddamn minds. They're out of their minds. One pick that I've already made a real error on this week is basically, right, let me justify my pick first, right? Because when I'm watching the Thursday night games, I often watch them after work on the Friday. I do an internet blackout, have some pizza, have some beer, and I watch the Thursday night game. This last Thursday, it was the trash off in Ohio between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. And I thought that the Cleveland Browns defense was worse than it was. It actually didn't look too bad, or it might have been that the offense wasn't quite there. Either way, I decided that I wanted to have a player to root for whilst watching the game, and that player that I have in my roster is AJ Green. AJ Green used to be an elite quarterback. The key word there is used to be, because since his injuries and his little bits of time off, he really hasn't looked very good. And I've got to be honest, he did not inspire me with very much hope in that game against Cleveland, because there are at least 3 catches in the end zone that AJ Green of 4 years ago would have made no problem at all. Like, he would have just done it like in his stride. He didn't do that, and for that reason, he is going to be in the future, because he put up 2.9. 2.9. That's probably already doomed me to a loss, because the guy that I'm playing this week is pretty good. Shout out to Chris, the Legion of Trash. He is the last week's toilet bowl winner. I should point that out. That's why he's called the Legion of Trash, not the Legion of Gloom. But his team this year are pretty good. I'm certainly going to have receivers doing better than a paltry 2.9. 2.9? Get out of here. But yeah, so anyway, that was an error on my part, especially when you've got guys like DK Metcalf on your bench. I have decided to bench, bringing me to my next pick. I did have DK Metcalf in my lineup, right? But Metcalf, they're playing the New England Patriots. I think that the Seahawks do quite well against the Patriots this week, and I don't think they're going to be playing from behind very much. So I think it's going to be a very big day for guys like Chris Carson, who unfortunately my opponent is playing, who's obviously the running back for the Seahawks. I just don't think they're going to be playing from behind enough for the receivers to have a big day. Now, one game that I do think is going to be a shootout is Carolina. I do have Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson has shown that last week Teddy Bridgewater loves to throw to him. He loves to throw to him, which is fair enough. So I make an executive decision to bench DK Metcalf, and I'm going to put in Bobby Anderson. So, yeah, I think, to be fair, any pick that you make can look bad when they, in hindsight, when you go back and look at it. Oh God, I'm so see. I'm playing with my phone right now. I'm literally considering putting DK Metcalf in because Metcalf is just an outstanding player. Like the sky's the limit for that kid. I just don't really like that matchup. Okay, right, no, I'm sticking with it. Okay, for better or worse, Bobby Anderson. Bobby Anderson is staying in my lineup. I'm sticking with that choice. I think he puts up numbers this week because I think that's probably going to be a shootout. Speaking of shootouts, I also have the starting tight end for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that he's going to, again, I feel like that game is probably going to be relatively high scoring because each team are probably going to march down the field. And and I think OJ Howard, he has a good chance of exploiting that. So he's probably going to be my best choice at tight end right now. I did consider picking Greg Olsen back up. I drafted Greg Olsen. And then, I don't know, I got cold feet and I took him out and I picked up Hurst, who was the tight end at Atlanta, and he did nothing for me last week, even though I did come out with the win, but it wasn't because of Hurst, let me tell you that. It wasn't because of Hurst. I'm considering picking Greg Olsen back up because he actually did really well. And if he's got Russell Wilson thrown to him, I think he's going to have a big season. I might pick him back up. Playing in my flex this week, I have got running back Mark Ingram. Now, Mark Ingram didn't put up very good numbers last week. It was all the Dobbins show, the new rookie running back in Baltimore. I am not finished with Ingram yet. I think that, Dobbins was used as a finisher. He was used to get into the end zone, which is fair enough. He put up big numbers. But I think Mark Ingram, he is the reliable hammer, and he's going to be used as such in his matchup against Houston. They're at the Houston Texans. I feel like the Baltimore Ravens should go ahead relatively early in that contest. They shouldn't be playing from behind too much because the Texans didn't look brilliant in their last outing. And I think that Mark Ingram, being there, he is still their lead running back. I think he's going to get all the points in that one because I feel like they're going to be playing from a front position, so they're going to be running the ball later in the second half, which is where a lot of his numbers are going to come in. And you've got Matt Prater, kicker. Who cares about kickers anyway? He's actually pretty good, to be fair. He makes a lot of them from plus 40 yards, which is key because you get the extra point in my league if you kick from 40 or above, and you get 5 points if they make a 50 or more. And he's made a few of those in his career, which is why I put Prater in. Playing against Green Bay, that should be a relatively high-scoring game, so I think that I'm going to stick with that. My defense, I brought in a new defense this week. The Chicago Bears are taking on the New York Giants. The New York Giants just do not look very good. They're really trying to fight hard with the Jets to see who the trashiest team in New York is. At the moment, the Jets are clearly winning because they were really awful. Because they haven't even got Saquon Barkley to lean on, but. The Giants they didn't look very good, and I think the Bears defense will take advantage of that, and hopefully it's going to be a low score from the Giants to keep my Bears defense score high. And I still predict that I am going to lose this one because my opponent is playing the Ravens defense, and his trio of Russell Wilson, Dalvin Cook, and Chris Carson are going to tear my team a new one. So I'm predicting myself a big old loss this week. But, I'm doing the best I can with the roster that I've got. And speaking of best I can with the roster that I've got, the New York Jets. They are my favourite team. I chose, when I first started watching American football, I made a choice. Mostly, it was due to the fact I was watching a lot of King of Queens at the time, that Kevin James show. Love it. Brilliant show. If you haven't watched it, it's just very nice, easy watching. It's fun. But he is a Jets fan in that show. I was watching that at the time. For better or worse, I thought, yeah, that's it. That's as good a team as any. Picked him up right during I started supporting him right during the Sanchez era. Right around that time, he did the butt fumble, which is, to be fair, let Mark Sanchez off. Mark Sanchez might not have been the best quarterback in the world, but he made history, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Every year I see that gift come back out, the butt fumble. If you haven't seen the butt fumble, go ahead and Google Mark Sanchez butt fumble. it should bring up one of the most hilarious pieces of NFL history that you are likely to ever see. The Jets, oh God, they looked so bad against the Buffalo Bills. The problem with the Jets is they cannot keep the ball on the field. They just can't keep the ball on offense. So it doesn't matter how good the defense is, right? If your defense is fantastic, but they're on the field for like 50 minutes out of the 60 that you're playing, then it's going to be a horrible night for them, isn't it? Because they're going to get tired. They're going to get tired, and no defense is immune to fatigue, and that's exactly what happens. They just get, and it's just our offense is so bad that we can't string more than literally it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So look, we've got the ball, 1, 2, 3, and we're off, and defense has to go back out there and try and make fucking chicken salad out of chicken shit, you know. It's a really sad state of affairs. I think Gase is going to be gone this season. We haven't even got Bell this week. Bell's been put on IR. It's not pretty for the Jets. I don't know. They're against the 49ers. The 49ers are really good, even if they haven't got Kittle this week. I think it's questionable. I'm probably not even going to watch that one. I might watch one of the more fun matchups. I don't know, maybe. Green Bay and Minnesota, or maybe even catch the Jags-Tennessee game, because that could be quite an interesting contest actually. See how the legacy of Minshew keeps on going. And obviously I've got one of my starting running backs in that one. I'll probably watch that one, to be fair, rather than just watching the Jets just get pounded. I'll check in on the score every once in a while, but it's just too depressing to watch a whole game of the Jets just being absolutely pounded. I can watch highlights of that. Enough of that one. But just to keep it interesting, I am obviously going to put some money down on an absolutely terrible bet, and this week is no exception. As you know, I like to keep my odds long and my bets terrible, and this one really is terrible. What I like to do is with the NFL is I do anytime touchdown scorers, right? Because it just means that at any time, your bet could come off. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. Do not follow these bets. Good Lord, they're you can put £1 on maybe. I don't put a lot on these. But so I've got Tarik Cohen, running back for the Bears. Right now, the reason I've picked him anytime is because I think that the Bears are going to be ahead in that contest against the New York Giants, because the Giants are just trash this year. So I think that they're going to be playing from a front position. If you're playing from a front position, generally speaking, in the second half you will run the ball an awful lot more, which will give Tarik Cohen more opportunities to go ahead and get that score. So I'm taking Tarik Cohen to score anytime. James Robinson to score anytime. Same reason really, because I just think that that's going to be a closer contest than people believe. I thought that the Jaguars looked very good last week, and James Robinson is their number one choice at running back. So I just think that if they're going to be running any touchdowns, then it should be James Robinson that's going to be getting them. I am sticking with Mark Ingram again for the second week running. I'm taking Mark Ingram to score any time, because I just feel like he is the hammer. He's the hammer that Baltimore are going to use. Again, they should, against the Texans, stay ahead throughout the game, meaning that they will run the ball more in the second half, and that will give Mark Ingram some opportunities to score. And I'm also taking Bobby Anderson to score any time for the Carolina Panthers, purely because I feel like it's going to be the opposite of the situation in Baltimore and with the Chicago Bears. In the Bobby Anderson, I think that Carolina, there's a chance they could be playing from behind a fair amount, because whilst the Bucks didn't win last week, offensively they did look pretty good. And I feel like if they get more on the same page, Tommy Terrific, he's got a lot of weapons there. They could go up early, and I feel like that was possibly going to be a shootout. I feel like it's going to be quite a high-scoring game, back and forth. Teddy Bridgewater, has clearly found a favoured wide receiver in Bobby Anderson. He's a deep threat. He's fast as hell, and I'm taking him to score anytime. So that is Cohen, Robinson, Ingram, and Anderson, all to score anytime. Hashtag terrible bet. 50.73 to 1. I'm having a go on that all day. And I've got fancy players playing all over the place. I cannot wait for 6 o'clock. I'm probably going to get some Red Zone on. I bloody love a bit of Red Zone. But however you choose to watch the games, be it the whole game or the Red Zone, and if you place any bets, keep those odds long. and those bets, terrible.